Hey guys, Carl and Tim here from TDG with a very special episode checking
Hello.
out the Path of Exile 1 Secrets of the Atlas reveal trailer. So, with no further ado, let's hop right into this thing.
I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now, we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there. We've got our shit together, and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June, and we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and
Let's
2.
go!
That means the next PoE 2 League will be in August, and the next
4
PoE 1 League
cycle's
after that will be in
awesome.
October. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your
This
KDR.
thing's sick.
Just because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't
Sweet.
mean this isn't important. Proudly
I'm all
or
about that.
shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off. And with that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are. Trust me, I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for, trapped within the Atlas.
Sono!
Reliving memories, made real, made grotesque, made foul.
This is so insane.
These manifestations must be destroyed. Their threats must be eradicated. I must have answers. We must find the originator. We must save my sister.
The power is an illusion made real.
Come, child. Drink deep the waters of life.
You're either a client or a target.
Target inside.
Just
Dusty monster. Oh, okay.
Dude, I'm freaking out. This looks incredible. This looks so good. Pinnacle bosses, not just Pinnacle bosses. We're going to get a little bit of lore like we were talking about. They're going to expand on the Zana storyline. Like her brother's coming into this. So this is, dude, yes, everything. Yes.
Was her brother ever part of the original story at
No,
all?
when they said that this afternoon,
Oh, Lord.
when they dropped that line, I almost I had goosebumps. I literally had goosebumps everywhere when they were talking about that earlier today in the live stream.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. This is cool. I haven't touched Pinnacle bosses. For everyone out there, I could probably say I have probably 20 hours in this game total. So this is gonna be
I
interesting.
can't wait to drag your ass to Pinnacle bosses and make you experience this. This is about to be so good. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Okay,
Let's do it.
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Nathan.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on
Hi,
Path of
Mark.
Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas in-game update. Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Trathus. After that, we'll cover the integration of Gold into PoE 1 and how we're bringing Settlers of Kalgur into the core game. Finally, we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality of life improvements. Then, we'll wrap up by discussing our Boss Kill race event, showing you our new supporter packs, and ending with a live Q&A session, where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your questions from Twitch chat. In Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within. Partway through the endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas.
Can't stop smiling.
Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with Egan, you must step through and find Zana,
Zana, baby
or
Zana.
whatever remains of her.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the story background, but how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your Atlas, a thread of memories.
Oh, that's so cool.
In order to now
don't
access
even
each
know what
map
I'm
on the
looking
thread,
at.
you simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence.
So that was the map atlas from PoE 1 that is like the best endgame ever developed
Right.
in ARPGs. So that
Okay.
thread is going to add a whole bunch of new content. I'll stop it as it goes through in a little bit when they talk about it. But this is going to be pretty reminiscent of Last Epoch's crafting system, what they're going to have on here. So we'll talk about that when they get to it.
Okay.
These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort. As you work your way along the thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat. Different maps on the thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment
That
items,
is insane.
meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency
Jeez.
and maps. Memory of Panic will make
That's
all
pretty
affected
cool,
monsters
actually.
revive immediately
Holy
after
cow.
death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them. And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power. As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use
cool
Memory of Disbelief
demonstration.
to cause them to drop better, more valuable items. Finally, obliterate them all.
Jeez.
The Memory of Panic will kick
The
in, causing
juice
them to
is about
revive,
to be
and
so
then wipe them out
real.
again, allowing you to get all the experience
It's
and
insane.
enhanced drops twice. There are many combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully consider how they best work together.
Path of Exile 2
That's not the
players are
only extra
crying
layer
at
of
that.
content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread, and these will stack as you go, so the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have. This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile. Let's take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always presented with two choices and must pick one. This mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits, where this mod makes Kerak modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar, but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying. In this map, you will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tears. With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses.
Oh, let's go.
In this arena, the moment of
Okay.
reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate speech in Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare, the incarnation of dread.
This is bullet hell.
Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles. Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them. If you slay the incarnation of
This
fear,
thing's
you might
insane.
be lucky enough to find the Star
This
Caller
looks
unique
awesome.
abyssal axe.
I'm excited
We're
for
going to
this.
show this one because it's straight up badass. The Star Caller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage.
That's so cool.
What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new
This
skill.
is so
With
cool.
the right build, you can carpet entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down the elements upon them. Another item you may find, and this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique.
I'm just going to pause it here for anybody still watching this. This is about to be the most broken item in the game. This thing is insane.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Blast. It consumes a lot of charges, but every time you use it, you draw a random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff. If you draw the escape card, you'll gain increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill.
Oh, that's
Effectively, you
insane.
can think of this unique as being many other uniques all in one.
It's
There are
gonna be
many, many cards to
incredible.
draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant. Okay, but let's get back to the Atlas. After defeating all 3 new pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory petals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps, making them far more rewarding. With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount, up to 100. This does a few things. When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be. On top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The new pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item. The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add some before crafting it. The Orb of Unraveling will consume all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes. The Orb of Intention can be used on memory influence maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process,
The Orb of Unraveling is about to be broken, but that is the memory strand system is what I was saying is very similar to like a last epoch system where that's like crafting potential, where as you are crafting on that item, it'll continue to get broken down further and further or worn down.
Okay.
process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted
This is gonna
Orbs,
be
which can
sick.
add their influence to an item. Zana was there from the beginning. When the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added, she helped
Can you
defeat the
pause it?
Elder, and she was a critical part of.
So, really quick, I don't understand. I get Exalted Orbs, but the Elder is the Shaper's Exalted
Yeah.
Orbs. Can you explain
I
that?
can, yeah, and this is a great point, Tim. I'm glad you stopped us. So, from anybody who doesn't know, so there are influences that occur in the PoE1 map atlas. The basic form of this would be Shaper and the Elder. So there are specific. If you can see right here next to the Auric Mace, there's the little Elder symbol. It means that that item is equipped specifically with an Elder mod, and there are specific Elder modifiers that can only be Elder mods. Like they don't exist outside of being from him.
Okay.
And the same thing exists for Shaper. I'm not gonna lie, I forget which one exactly is which. I think Elder is more physical damage and attacks, I think, and Shaper is more cold and spells, but I could have that wrong. But they are basically things that only exist with those influences on them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a way now, instead of finding the base item, you can slam one of those affixes on with the influence.
With the orb.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
So
Cool,
when it
cool.
adds its affix, it'll now add only an Elder affix.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
got
gonna
it.
be
All
gonna
right,
be
I understand
really
now.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Just more
The Conqueror's
customization.
Yes.
Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them.
Oh, I can't wait. That'll
In
be
other
insane.
news, there of course has to be Atlas passive tree support for this new in-game content. Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp of the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest value. By allocating traumatic experience,
There's no
remembered
way that's
kindness,
not
or
mandatory.
educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run. This is especially useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal-empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items. While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new in-game system, you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping. Let's talk about that. Gold was introduced during the Settlers of Calgar expansion. It funded the development and operations of King's March, along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus.
I'm so happy they're keeping this.
Those features offered by
Me
Faustus
too.
will be here to stay,
That's really
along
nice.
with some of the other
Especially
services
players
King's March
like
has
me.
to offer.
Who
We'll
have
get more into
no
that
idea
later,
what they're
but
doing.
don't worry. King's March has already been completed. There will be no more town building. Like before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league. It's time to talk about Mercenaries of Trathus. In this league, you will meet veterans who have traveled all the way from the lawless cities of Trathus. They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped. After meeting them, as per the Trathan Code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction. Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've
This
encountered.
is so cool.
Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects augmenting those skills. You must now make a choice. You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating
That
monsters,
thing's
as they've been
insane.
crafting their items too. They can also come
That
equipped with
ring.
unique items.
Yeah, that ring is
Those that would
GG.
make sense for the skills they are using. There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped, increases to cast speed from Arcane Surge also apply to
You want
movement
to pause
speed,
real quick?
which is worth noting is now
So I don't know how good those boots are. They sound awesome, but I will say, like, just this whole system is really cool. It's just a really unique take, if anything, I think, for this, or just a really cool addition that you can have. You can either, again, as he said, like have him as a companion. You can try and take one of the items, or just straight up banish him, and then just because you don't like them anymore and they stay away for a while. Like, this is such a cool system.
This is going to be absurd. The power creep that is about to come from this is going to be absurd. These guys are going to have their own little unique builds. I don't remember where exactly Mark talked about this, but they count as like half a person, which means that even when you're playing with them, they're gonna extra juice your maps because they're gonna count as difficulty, which is gonna add to more currency drops and more drops in the maps that you're running. These guys are about to be nuts, and you could equip stuff on them.
Jeez.
Like you can gear these guys up. This is gonna be so cool, dude.
Oh my god,
bro. So like when we're
that's actually really
yeah,
cool.
dude, we'll be playing together. It'll be me, you, if we have an animated guardian, and then two little buddies running around behind us. So it'll be like 6 of us on a map. It's gonna be crazy.
So yeah, I was gonna say question as well. Can you give them gear? I mean, I guess they have their own skills and stuff, but maybe can you equip like RF on these guys as well?
So I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that. I'm sure that there's gonna be some what is it? What do I mean? Like archetypes that'll be, but I don't know if we could we can force that stuff, but we can definitely build them out with gear that we want to do. Take it from them or swap it into them. They show that a little later, but it looks absurd. This looks so cool.
It does.
20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trathus. They are less common, but have far better items. And they are also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage.
Bonkers.
Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification. If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trathan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Almost at me. Well, not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch.
That's absurd. That's so cool.
Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Good. Good.
Wait, what? A divine?
It's a
Let's
joke.
say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided. When I'm playing a more aggressive character myself though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a Striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike. And if you're lucky, a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well. He will also frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back. Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trathan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you'll be able to select it as your reward when challenging them, then defeat them and they'll drop the Trathan gem as promised. You can only have 1 mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service. The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup, like a difficult boss fight. Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign and endgame. If your mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet. Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to
1000 HP
clarify,
comes hard.
mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated. If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries. If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, the gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trathan arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalgurin ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeaking of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestel and Lionized Watch. Black market item gambling, previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available in each town at the same NPC. This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold. Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique. The currency exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help facilitate these trades.
So nice.
Now, after almost a year of building, Johan is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalguran workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalguran ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments, you'll receive different items, but by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to change what stats
I'm
they grant.
so happy to see these back.
The Kalguran ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service.
Yeah, so
What am I looking at?
yeah. I'll go back. So no, dude, this is what I'm telling you. There's 10 years of development here. So
Items.
Yeah,
Six-
that I'm figuring out.
6%
Right?
fire res here, but when he puts it on the tree, he has another one
But by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive
that
tattoos,
gave him the fire
which can be
damage.
used on your passive tree to change
So
what
it's
stats
going
they
to turn that
Right.
strength node into a 5% fire damage.
grant.
What?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is incredible. This was so much fun in the Total League. It was really really fun to have tattoos everywhere through the tree, grabbing all the bonuses. It was really cool.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
By the way, watching this gameplay, I know what my second build is already, so that's really fun too.
What's your second build gonna be?
We'll see.
Kalguran ports will be sending back
You'll see. We'll see
Okay,
when we get
okay.
there.
rune
I'm gonna try and
grafts,
hard
which is a
focus
new
on
passive
RF,
tree
I think.
mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery
Which is
node.
absurd.
For example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves. Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life. And the Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown, which I will note includes cooldowns on your
That
triggers,
is also
just in case you wanted to
absurd.
trigger even more spells.
Yeah.
There are many other Runegrafts
Oh my
which cover a wide range of different
Yeah.
builds and stats. Some are more common and others rarer.
Dude, what
You can
the
only
heck?
use one of a given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be
So much
particularly
space
useful
for
for
activity.
off-class investment. Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator. She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try merge together, and it has a success chance you can see. This method can result in the items being destroyed, however, it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use as crafting projects. Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way.
I'm just going to say that the fact that they're keeping that in the game is disgusting.
The old way and new way
The-
of the recombinator.
Yeah, the in-league way is just it's incredible. It's insane. It is by far the best way of crafting.
I am sure I'm gonna find out as I finally reach
I
it. For
can't
once.
wait. It's gonna be fun.
By letting fate decide, it will combine the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable. As Settlers is now a core mechanic, we've also added Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you wanted to gather more Varicium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune grafts, using those to modify your passive tree to an extent never seen before. Following on from that, we've also made a substantial rework to another important mechanic, Betrayal. As a refresher, and to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification, research, and intervention. As you
is pretty
encounter the
cool.
Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind. In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries,
I love this. This is
and
awesome.
even banish them from the Syndicate for a time. Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal Syndicate would reset, requiring you to start from the beginning of the investigation again. This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up? Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic. The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop from the safe house leaders at high levels.
Such a W.
The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate. You can now build your Betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress every time.
Such a huge W. Oh my lord.
The boss
Quality
fight
of
itself has
life.
also been improved, now with significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards. By the way, if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace. The Mastermind still has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb, now renamed to Veiled Exalted Orb. Veiled Chaos Orbs are being re-added to other Safe House leaders. In addition, the Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers. All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs in in-game maps with different types of special monsters. These packs have unusual properties, compositions, or rewards. For example, you might use the All Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with Syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding. It is our intention with All Flame to provide many different types that combine
I like that
with
you
other
can
mechanics,
stack them.
multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this is the All Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map. This can be useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters. Something akin to meat saps, which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too. Another is the All Flame Ember of Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items, but when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters.
Very cool
All Flame
concept.
Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you. The Mastermind unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitter Bind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes, such as +1 additional Spectre. Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the Safe House rewards have also been rebalanced.
This is insane.
We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end of many Safe
I
Houses.
don't understand
For
what
those
I'm
who aren't
watching
aware how
here,
these crafting sprees work,
but it looks insane.
So this is the mastermind, or the leader of those houses, the strong houses. There we go. And this is one of the
Yeah.
things that you can do. So this is a corrupted item, as you can see, right? Which is why it's getting a different thing here. But normally, it's a talisman, so it's always corrupted. But normally, you can't do anything to corrupted items. In PoE 1, there are specific currencies that can modify corrupted items. So what you're doing here is this is an item that's being given to you, and they've given you 30 of each of these, and then a couple of whatever this thing is. I honestly don't remember what everything is. I think this is a corrupted exalted, basically. And you can craft, you have like 80 seconds is what you had in here to craft whatever you can and then take it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay, this looks cool.
yeah, you'll be able to check this out. Betrayal will be a lot of fun. It's a lot to learn, but like there's a whole bunch of little leagues. I would honestly advise anybody who's not played, and Tim, this will go for you too, pick one league and just focus on it. When you start to get really comfortable with that, then branch out. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're just trying to drink the ocean. There's way too much.
Well, I already feel that way anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Betrayal is kind of hard to get going, but it's pretty fun. Heist is super easy, very straightforward, very fun. Anybody who's played PoE 2, they would know that there's also the equivalent of Sanctum League as well, which is equivalent to the Secumus Trial. And then there's just a whole bunch of like other stuff that you'll be able to do. Breaches in this, Harvest, which is pretty fun. That's killing some plants that lets you have some pretty powerful stuff. But I would recommend sticking to one of those and then kind of branching out from there.
Okay, one of the leagues, right?
Yeah, one of the mechanics, the core mechanics, learning how to utilize that and then expanding outwards. I'll teach you a little bit as we go through it and try to help you with any questions, but that's how I would learn this. Otherwise, it's just going to be way too much.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time, and your only objective is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result. But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful crafting options in each spree.
Sick.
Let's take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this reflecting mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise.
Insane,
And in
right?
this spree,
That
you
is
will find
so
a pre-generated unique item, and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but not quite the same. Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs. This orb also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits, and has a much lower chance to brick the item.
So cool.
It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes. Of course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin the item. There are also crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item. then just go ballistic with a whole ton of Scouring Orbs and Orbs of Chance, hoping to get your ideal unique. For most sprees, the rank of the Syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just like the Emperor's Luck Divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of Divines. Betrayal is a good source of Veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them. They are instead found at the entrances to boss rooms and in-game maps. On top of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items. You can just right-click them, or the equivalent on gamepad, and select which Veiled modifier you want to unveil. Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Give me Shut up!
Now before we get into our quality of life additions, let's quickly talk about some character balance. We will be doing our regular character balance changes where we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things. This includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting
Let's
builds,
go.
channeled spells, adding new options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes, which include some favorites from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Freesia,
That's so
and
cool.
buffing a whole bunch of transfigured gems that never really hit the mark. Combined with the new endgame crafting, improved Betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new Pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trathan gems from the mercenaries, and of course the mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about. Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features that we know you've all been asking for. A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case you missed any. You can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu, or by opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree. You'll also be paused if any lag is detected, or if you disconnect. It's worth noting that in certain Pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing. We're also making a change to how you use currency items on strongboxes and monsters imprisoned in essences. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear. Valuable currency like Divine Orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context. The same applies to essences with the Remnant of Corruption currency. Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can now reroll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian
This
map.
is so nice.
Doing so will reroll the base map and the Guardian of that map. The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach. On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby. You no longer have to kill all of them first. Vendor windows will now remember your last search. This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on. There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes. Alongside the launch of Secrets of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new Pinnacle bosses. The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trathus League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
These are pretty cool.
The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered, either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies. You are the
That's
lore,
cool.
while wearing the armor of the powerful Frisian Grand
You are
Magistrate.
the lore.
The Spider Blossom Pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies. The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in 2 forms. Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise, or equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers. Keep track of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration. It will keep track of the total number of waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed.
This is cool too.
On top of that, it will track the total number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself. The Crypt Keeper Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies. The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through. Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It comes with a more armored helmet variant and a creepy mask with a spectral
You
hood.
can say that again.
Looking to have some fun during idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will test your reaction speed as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in the shortest time.
This is so
It
dumb.
also comes with
It's
a
so
scoreboard,
funny.
so you can try to set new records to show off to your
This is
friends
whack-a-mole.
or
Yeah.
just visitors
This is
coming to trade.
whack-a-mole.
Equip yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the dead with the Sacred Crypt Keeper back attachment.
That's
The
pretty
Sacred
cool looking.
Archives map device
This
resembles a
map
magical
device
library with
is
the works of scholars
crazy.
that come to life when you open a map. This map device tracks
So
how many of each
cool.
core league you've completed.
I
in in-game
want that
maps.
really bad.
These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile, Mercenaries of Trathus. Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Paladin and
Yeah,
Penance
everything
packs leave the
transfers
store
back
forever
and
at
forth.
the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathus League,
Yeah.
so now's your last chance to purchase them. Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1. Thank you so much for your ongoing.
So Tim, what'd you think about all that?
It's a ton. So like I don't know anything about this game, obviously, right? Like, but what I do know is there's so much customization and like again, you're able to make it you're able to make your build exactly the way you want it to. I feel like in this game, which is pretty crazy. And it's not just that though; it's the amount of ways you're able to do it. And you use the term power creep, right? It's more so like, oh my gosh, there's just so many ways to increase your power. It's like never ending. It's always can be a little better, and that's what keeps. And I'm starting to understand as well, like why people love this game so much because of how much there is to it and how deep like this rabbit hole goes. So for me, this looks really interesting and really fun. Like even like again that system. Why am I the
Betrayal?
Inquisitors? I'm blanking on the name. The betrayal. Yeah, the whole betrayal mechanic for me, oddly like. I know that's not even about like what this is that's just kind of part of it, but just the way that's kind of set up, it's almost like you're trying to take down a mob.
It's
or a
exactly
mob
what it
boss,
is.
right? Like
Tho-
it reminds me of like Mafia or something.
those are the old
Um,
oh man, the old traders that we used to have. Those were the warriors that we used to recruit and save throughout the entire campaign, and then they turned on us. That's why it's called betrayal.
Oh,
That's why
wow.
it's called Betrayal League. The Masters.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, again, there's just so much to it, and it's really hard to get my brain to wrap around it because obviously I still haven't even gone through the entire campaign, basically, right? Like, I have so much to freaking learn. Again, you're trying to drink the freaking ocean when it's not even water out of a fire hydrant. It's the ocean for me. So, but I'm excited. This looks like a ton of fun. I have a ton to learn here. That's kind of my general reaction. I'm pretty excited. What about you?
I think, well, just to jump on what you were just saying, I think that if you give this game time and you really like put effort into it, I think you're going to see why one of my major complaints for PoE 2 has been the lack of customization or the lack of direction in the crafting. When you
Mhm.
see how much they do of that in this game and how much player control there is, this game never seems to like run out of upgrades to make. It is so deep, like you were saying, and it's so deep across so many different styles and so many different leagues and so many different things of, you start with harvest crafting, and then you're running over and doing recombination, and then you're going to go do betrayal crafting, and there's so many different layers. I'm really actually excited to see what your thoughts are, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the league, if you're able to even put it down. Like, I think if I can get you through the campaign and you just focus on something, you're going to have a hard time stepping away from it. It's incredible.
I overall I'm excited for it. I'm overall pretty excited to just kind of do an RF build, see how we go there, just try and make life easy for myself as I try and learn this game because there's so much to learn. I mean, even PoE 2 for me was a lot, and again, I've been sitting there trying to continue to learn that. I feel like I have a good grip on it to a degree, and then you throw this at me, I'm like, all right, I have no idea what I'm doing again. So there's a lot for me to go through here, but I'm pretty darn excited. Was there anything specific that you wanted to highlight as we kind of come to a close here?
Just how big this is. This is what I was hoping for when I was saying to you the other day that they called this an expansion. Oh baby, is it ever.
it's massive.
This
There's tons of stuff. I've never even played the game, and I know there's tons
So
of
the
stuff.
crazy part is the league mechanic. The league mechanic is the exiles that we're going to be fighting with. Everything else is going core. Period. It is part of the game. I'm so excited. In the Q&A, Mark was mentioning that Secrets of the Atlas is basically something that they're looking to do in 3 parts, and this is just the beginning of it.
Holy crap! So yeah, I was gonna say if this is part 1, part 2, and again, if the parts are equal, holy crap, that's a lot. That's a lot of content.
So, but anyway, guys, with that being said, please feel free to join us on June 3rd. This isn't PDT, but it will be, I believe, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and Tim will be cracking right into it, trying to jump in at league start and race our ways, at least for me, to endgame to bring you guys some all new content. We're going to try to divvy this up, have 2 separate approaches, I think, to the way that we're dropping content on the new expansion going into this. We'll have a little bit more to share as we get closer to it, but just to give you guys a little nibble on something to come. But with that being said, Tim, do you have any last words?
No, I mean, again, the 2 approaches as well, just to elaborate a little bit. Again, you're going to get this play style of me not figuring out what to do, and pretty much I'm just going to be kind of the running in blind here to the best of my abilities, of course, with some resource management and asking Carl for tips here. And you have Carl, who definitely knows what he's doing, I would say, personally, from my perspective, right? But really excited for this, really excited to kind of see how this all plays out and how far we can go into this league and how the league just feels ultimately in general. But otherwise, yeah, I'm all set. We're good here.
All right, brother. We'll catch you guys later. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.